video recording. And Cindy, take it from there.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Karen and I are normally apart. She lives in California, I live in Georgia, but we're together in Kentucky. Karen and I are actually doing a training together, and we're so excited to be on tonight. And our goal tonight is to talk about our newest project that we're doing with the Online Peer Mediation Platform, and that is providing online peer mediation services to schools that either don't have a peer mediation program, or they're trying to get one together, or they have peer mediators and they want to contribute. And that means that they actually become peer mediators with our peer mediators here in Georgia. So what we're going to do, I have 2 students on tonight, and I actually will have a 3rd student joining us. So before we get started, I want my students to introduce themselves and tell a little bit about who they are, what they're doing now, and what their experience with peer mediation is. So Tay, can I get you to get started?
Okay, so my name is Tay, and I'm 17, and I'm a senior at Magnet School in Rockdale. And basically, I joined peer mediation a year ago when I was a junior, and it's been a really great experience so far. And we got certified to peer mediate in our school and now online. And so I'm just ready to graduate and continue my peer mediation in college.
Awesome, thank you, Tay. And Courtney, hi, welcome.
Hey.
So good to see you. So Courtney, tell us a little bit what you're doing now, okay?
Okay. Well, right now I'm a freshman at UGA. I'm pursuing a double major in math and computer science. And, I really loved doing peer mediation in high school. It really helped me connect with other people and kind of see things from different perspectives that I wouldn't normally think to see. And right now, I guess it has had its applications in my personal life, but I haven't found another peer mediation group here. So hopefully I will be able to find one.
Well, and we're going to talk about this a little later, but we are actually part of the Online Peer Mediation Platform, as we're going to be looking for college coaches. So,
Courtney.
Yeah. So for those of you out there that are actually maybe had former students, or maybe you're in a, you're working in a college setting, Karen's going to talk more about that, how you can become involved. Okay. So Courtney, thank you for joining us. And then we'll have another student. She just texted me. Her name is Kennedy. She'll be coming on in just a moment. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And Karen and I are going to talk a little bit about how we're going to provide these online peer mediation services to our schools. So bear with me for just a moment. Technology and I just do not get along sometimes. Okay, so again, our presentation tonight is how we're going to provide online peer mediation services using the online platform for peer mediation. Now, just a little background about our program. We had a grant with JAMS, 2 years, and it's going to run out next week.
Yes.
So we will not be under a grant any longer. However, our program will continue. We were managed by the Association for Conflict Resolution last year. This year we're managed by the National Association for Peer Program Professionals, and they have graciously taken us under their umbrella, and they have made a commitment to continue what we're doing. So no worries, we're not going anywhere, right? So the goals of our online peer mediation platform would be, number one, to provide resources. Karen, can you tell us what kind of resources you can find on this forum?
Absolutely. And there'll be a web link to the website itself. And on that website, you'll find resources. And those resources are copies of curriculum that others have made available in open domain. There are articles, research articles that outline best practices that are being explored and investigated throughout the United States and throughout the world, actually. And so it's meant to be sort of a one-stop shop of all things peer mediation. So when you go to that website, you have a question about how to implement a program, how to run your program the way it should be run. Oh, by the way, we also link you to the online standards, or the standards for peer mediation programming that are put together by the Association for Conflict Resolution. So again, we hope this is like a one-stop shop for you to find everything you need about peer mediation. And we're always looking to grow this repository. So if you are on with us today and you know that you have some research or you have articles or you have resources that you could share, please do. Let us know. We want this to be current at all times. We don't ever want this to run dead on it. We want the latest and the greatest information about peer mediation right there.
Awesome. So goal number 2 is to provide online training and basic peer mediation skills. And what that means is if you have a program and you need practice, our group would be willing to help your group practice their skills. I have trained mediators. Tay is one of them. Courtney is a former peer mediator with me, but I'm sure that if I ever needed her, she would be like, I'm with you, I'm on it, and they will help provide coaching skills and great feedback. You get to keep those simulations. We'll send you the recordings. That way you can use those recordings with future students. Goal number 3 is the online peer mediation development. We actually will help provide some basic peer mediation modules to enhance your training. So we have 10 modules as a classroom. If that's something you want to sign up for, we have that link on our website. And then last but not least is what we're doing tonight is the online peer mediation services that we're currently going to advertise tonight. So who are we? Well, just a little bit background about me. I am a peer mediation coordinator in Rockdale County, Georgia, outside of Atlanta. I have 3 schools I've run a peer mediation program in. I am a registered mediator in the state of Georgia. I am the online peer mediation co-coordinator, and I am a former chair of the Association for Conflict Resolution, ERT, which is Education, Research, and Training. Karen?
Great. And I'm at California State University at Los Angeles currently. Past practice was with Cal State University at Fresno. And at Fresno State, we ran the Mediator Mentors program, which was a higher ed community school connection or a public school connection where we would help train students, their teachers in elementary through middle school. And then we would train our college students to facilitate and be part of that team of mediation work they were doing out in their schools. So we still have long ties to that network, but my work in the Los Angeles area now has taken me into some other arenas, working with Dominguez Hills, Cal State University Dominguez Hills, and a project that's being funded by the Forrest Whitaker Foundation, growing some curriculum in middle school. So, I mean, just endless opportunities to do this work. I like Cindy, was a former chair for the Association for Conflict Resolution in Education, Research, and Training. So that's how I got to know Cindy, and I now have a new sister, and I like that.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's get moving. So first of all, where would you find this information to even sign up to get information about services? Well, if you'll go to our online peer mediation page, if you go to the OPMP website and click the peer mediation link, you'll scroll down and you will actually see a link that says peer mediation intake form. Now, that information is going to allow you to provide a mediation request for one of your students. Now, we prefer that the adults, whether the school counselor, a teacher, a peer mediation coordinator, fill out this form with your students. That way, we are actually communicating with a professional at the school. We do not communicate with the students. We like to communicate with the school to communicate with the students. So that is the very first step, is to fill out this request form. After that, then we will contact the school person and we will discuss a possibility of a mediation, because we have to arrange everything. We have to get our students ready. We have to make sure that our schedules coincide. And then once those things are arranged, then we will be able to, oh, sorry about that, we'll be able to schedule a time that works for everyone. Now, who is usually on this peer mediation? Well, of course, you have the disputants, the students, you have our mediators, and then you have the mediator mentors. These are college-age students and adults like myself that are behind the scenes, that are watching to make sure that if something happens, that there's safety nets. We never allow students just to go rogue, as it were, to just to conduct mediations. I'm sure Tay's very appreciative if there's somebody behind the scenes and he's like, you know, even though he's very skilled and Courtney's very skilled, it's always good to know that there's someone that will be there. And we provide follow-up and feedback for these students. So Karen, can you tell us a little bit about what mediator mentors would do for students?
Yes, indeed, absolutely. And you may, we can't see you folks that are here right now, and that's one of the structures in Zoom, and this is the platform that we use, what we're on right here tonight. We use that with the live peer mediation. So the mediator mentor would make their presence known and introduce themselves, and then they would go behind the curtain. There's a way to do that on Zoom so that their face isn't shown on the screen. What you would see on the screen are the two disputants and the two mediators, and away they go in their practice. If there was ever a moment, as you just said, that there was need for a little assistance, a pause, the mediator mentor, the college student with more experience, could be called in and have a sidebar private conversation. And Zoom is set up so that you can put a call on hold and have those sidebar conversations. And then once the mediation starts again, that mediator mentor again would sort of slip back and just be observing.
Absolutely. And another great feature is a chat function. So if like Tay and Courtney were doing a mediation, they would be able to send a chat to one of us and we could give them feedback instantaneously. So that's kind of how our structure is set up for safety purposes. Well, we always like to do an investigation of a mediation before we accept it as a case that we would like to have. So we usually will do an intake with the students. Now, that could be that the coordinator calls them into their office and we talk to them, or we send them a corresponding email from the school personnel that kind of gives some information, because number one, we don't want to mediate a case that's not appropriate. Karen, can you give us some examples of non-appropriate cases?
Sure. So one of the first things that come to mind is bullying, and we consider bullying to be inappropriate for peer mediation because it is it's a disbalance in power. It could be potentially dangerous in its outcome and impact on students. So we don't handle anything that would be potentially dangerous. If there's anything that seems like it's involving illegal activity, that is also not appropriate for a mediated moment.
Absolutely. So once we accept a case, then students will sign a consent to mediate. Now the reason for the consent is just to say, hey, I voluntarily accept this process. We talk about ethics, that as mediators we have ethics, that mediation is, we want to maintain neutrality, it's self-determination, the parties determine the outcome. We're just really providing a safe environment. We also want to cover the ground rules. These are very important to make sure that we provide that safe environment. And in those ground rules, we cover a lot about confidentiality. And in that confidentiality, we tell the disputants that if they report harm to self, harm to others, certain illegal activities, that we cannot continue the mediation. And we make this up front. We talk to them about this and we make sure that we have their consent before we even begin a mediation. Karen, would you like to add anything about the consent?
Yes, no, I think you covered it really well. If there was a report of harm to self or others, then having that adult in the mix, that is the school adult, we would be able to follow up with them so they could be sure that there was appropriate intervention.
Absolutely, because we don't want anything to happen to our students. We want them to be safe. So one of the things that we do in the process is we like to give the students and those of you that are interested a brief orientation to our Zoom platform. We guide the mediators. We make sure that they know how to use Zoom, how to share their screen if they want to, because there's a lot of great things you can do. You can share your screen to type up an agreement. I think, Tay, you've done that before, haven't you? You actually did an agreement.
Yeah, it was hard. It was kind of easy to share this.
Was it easy? Excellent. So you were able to do that, and we have to show, of course, the mediator mentors how to be able to do a private session, how the students can do a private session, how they can put someone on pause and hold. So there is some training that is involved in this process, and we would make sure that your students knew how to do this process. It's very easy. So again, here is some of the ground rules, just an example of some of the ground rules that we will use in this mediation process. We do ask the disputants, are there any other rules that we might need? I'm going to give you an example of that. And again, we said confidentiality is very important to us. This is just an example of our confidentiality policy that we have. Everything that we have or that is here stays in here, except, of course. And then, there's a thing with electronics.
Yeah.
We don't know who's in the room with them, and we don't know what's online. So we have to have some trust and some training, and we ask them to turn off all electronic devices besides their computer that they're using for the Zoom platform. When they get on, they'll state their name, they'll begin talking to each other, and we just want to make sure that we're talking to the person that's supposed to be in the mediation. So those are very important things. At the end, we're hoping that we'll have an agreement, and that agreement will be typed up, and the students will get a copy of that. We normally don't share those agreements with the school personnel because this is their issue and their problem, and they're there to solve it. Now, if there is extenuating circumstances or the school requires that, we'll certainly abide with what the school would like. Okay, sometimes schools may say, well, hey, we need parent permission. We're totally okay with that. So we're very flexible, and we just kind of really work in your schedule. We can do a mediation during the day, or we can do a mediation in the evening. So we have a flexible schedule.
Awesome.
We also like to get an evaluation from the students. How did this go for you? Did you like this? Was it an easy process? We not only do that for the disputants, but for our mediators and our mediator mentors, and for the adults, because they will get feedback as well, and we just want to know how we can improve our process. So how do you get involved? Well, we would love for you to get involved. And so number one is talk to us. We will definitely set up an orientation. We will even have an orientation if you have peer mediators. We'll orientate them to this process. And of course, you have to refer your students if you want your students to participate. So how do you reach out to us? Well, there's a contact page. You go to our OPMP page, and you'll go to contact, and there's a form that you can fill out. I've put the web address below with the link to our Contact Us. We also can reach out to us by going to our feedback, our Facebook and our Twitter page, which I've attached as well for you to join us and follow us as we continue our journey and always bring new resources to this platform that we have. So what I would like to do at this time is I would like to have Tay and Courtney just kind of tell us what their experiences are with online. Even though it may be a brief experience, they had some things that they did online, and I want them just to kind of tell you from a student's experience how it was for them. So Tay, Courtney, who would like to start?
Okay, so the online peer mediation was it really helped us like extend our program to other places, because actually most of the training that we've done has been in the computers recently, and even though we had some in person, it's just way easier to get on Zoom and train to mediate people, because it's not even hard to do it, sharing the screen when we're making an agreement and just relaying information. I think only downfall maybe on the technology, because you can't be there in person to see somebody if they're turning off their phone. But then again, it's a trust thing, and since they know it's confidential, hopefully they'll abide since they're fixing their problem.
Excellent, Tay. Thank you so much. And Tay, you were able to do a role play, correct, online?
Yes. I did it with Ramar and Tamara.
Awesome. I think we may have another student that just joined us online. Kennedy, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, wonderful. Hey, Kennedy, welcome. Welcome. So, thank you for joining us. Can you introduce yourself? And we're talking about how you've been involved in the online peer mediation platform, even if you had limited experience, what experiences you had. So please introduce yourself and tell the audience about yourself.
Okay, hi, I'm Kennedy. Honestly, the only real experience I've had so far is just practicing with the people in my class. I haven't had a real, mediation online, but I think it's very convenient that we could just, I'm using my phone now, or you can use your laptop, and It's just very flexible, and hopefully I can't wait to really actually do a mediation on here.
So Kennedy, can you tell the audience out there what devices can be used for online mediation? Can you use anything?
Pretty much. You can use a tablet, laptop. I'm using my phone today. All I had to do was download the app, or I could have called in, but if you want to show your face, you can just always download the app, and it's
absolutely. So if a student doesn't have access to a computer, they can actually phone in to the mediation.
All you have to do is just download the app to your phone and then click the link in your email, and it'll just pop up.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Kennedy, and thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Nice to meet you.
Yes. So Courtney, tell us a little bit about your experience, and you're going to be on the other side, hopefully, as a college student, but tell us a little bit about your experience with online peer mediation.
Well, my experience has been pretty limited. I haven't been able to do an actual mediation online. However, I was able to kind of sit in on some mock mediations and see how it went to know, if I were to go through one, what I would need to do. And I've also had background training on, in real life peer mediation. So I could see where the Zoom platform would be really compatible with actually successfully doing a mediation. And, honestly, it's the best platform that I've ever seen to do something online and do it as successfully as Zoom will allow you. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Courtney. We really appreciate it. Now, audience members, we want to really hear from you and see what questions you might have about our platform. And if you want to participate, we definitely welcome you. So we will open our floor up now for questions, if anyone has any. So we'll give everybody a moment.
Cindy, while we're waiting for the questions, you said that there are some cases that are not suitable to be mediated, right? And you mentioned cases of bullyism, right? Are there any other cases that you think cannot be mediated?
Of course. Sexual abuse.
Right.
Domestic types of situations, illegal activities like drug use, violence. We would not want to mediate those types of cases. But misunderstandings, name calling, interpersonal fussing, those kind of things are definitely great. The lower level, the better. If we can get it when it's emerging, that would be really the most convenient cases to do on peer mediation.
All right, thanks. We have a couple of questions.
Oh, wonderful.
The first question is, can I share the resources with other schools, and how will I do that? Cindy, would you like to answer that?
Yeah, well, Karen and I can say it together. Let's say it.
Yes. This is all open domain. It's free. Go for it.
Absolutely. Share, send it out.
Yeah.
We would love for you to do that.
Yes, please.
So they just need to go to our website, right?
Yes.
And where they will find the resources
and the
link, and they can share the link. Okay. Another question is actually is also very interesting. It says, is this platform available for elementary schools?
We haven't gone that direction. I can't say that it would be impossible, and we certainly would be open to having a conversation with a school that's working with elementary students. I think it's probably most appropriate for high school, but I don't want to say no. I mean, maybe you've got a group of students for whom this would be very, very appropriate.
And maybe we could do a pilot. We're not opposed to that.
Right.
So just know that we typically don't say no to anything. We would be willing to try, and if it doesn't work, then we can go from there.
Yeah, and it's with younger students, with minors, there would, I'm going to assume that there would be more involvement with parent permission, or more requirement for parent permission with younger students.
So although it is something that we haven't done yet, it is something that we'd like to test, right?
We'd love to explore that option.
Right. If that's a need that somebody has, please reach out.
Yeah.
We'll see what we can do.
Okay. There's there is a question that, so it is, how would a school use the website to teach?
Okay, so we have the conflict resolution modules. If you're interested in using the modules, all you would have to do is contact us. I will reach out to you, and then it's just a matter of actually doing an orientation and talking about how the modules work and see if that's something that you want to do. So it's really just at this point contacting us, because it's actually a classroom that we would actually put you and your students in, and they would actually go through the modules, and there's activities and tests and things like that.
And it lives in a Moodle delivery system right now, but we're working on moving it into a Google Classroom environment as well.
Yes.
So it's password protected. It's something that you have to request to participate. Yes.
There is a question from Chris. Could students and teachers mediate?
Well, there is such
Who is going to answer that?
Yes.
We did not rehearse that. I want you to know. Yeah.
Well, we talked about that today. Actually, we're at a training, and we talked about that today. And there is a teacher-student mediation that does exist. So there is a specific training, and I think you certainly could use this platform for. I would totally do that because I am that kind of girl. So we could definitely look at doing another pilot and helping you establish that. So that's something that I've done it. I've done teacher-student mediation, so it's no problem.
Oh, you have?
You have the right training.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you need an adult and a student to mediate an adult and a student dispute.
Yeah. So like Tay and I could mediate a case like that together.
So it can be done then?
It can. Oh, yes.
If all parties are in agreement, then that's possible.
It has been done.
But it can be tricky. I mean,
it's not for the faint of heart.
That's right.
All right. Okay. Now, while we're waiting for some other questions to come in, I think we have a couple of more minutes. I think, Cindy, it will be interesting to hear from your students whether they found any differences in mediating face-to-face and online.
Good question.
Was your job the same? Was it more difficult online? Did it make any difference?
Yeah.
Dave, Courtney?
I know they did the role play. So who would like to talk about one of the role plays that you did and how different it was from mediating in person?
Okay, so
yeah, there goes. Good job, Jay.
okay, so when I mediated with Ramar and Courtney, basically I was the co-mediator, so I had to mediate with a student that was having an altercation. But even though it was role play, I feel like in real life people have like real emotions and real body language, and it's kind of harder to pick up on the body language like through Zoom, like because that's a really important part of our training that we learned. Like we had a whole module about body training and like emotions and like eye contact, and it's harder to make people know that you're engaged, and it's easier to be distracted.
So your skill level has to be higher for actually using the online platform. Definitely.
Yeah, so you could be skillful enough to pay attention though and like engage and like notice certain kinds of body language. So it's like that's why it's possible to be done. So yeah.
Good answer, Ty. Thank you so much. Courtney, did you want to add anything?
I personally feel like mediating on Zoom is a little bit more difficult just because when I mediated in real life, it's hard to establish that, like calm zone where everyone is just on the same page and there's no someone's trying to talk over another person. And I feel like as you become a more experienced peer mediator, that would be easier to establish online. But if you started off very early trying to do an actual mediation on Zoom, I feel like that would be more difficult than it is.
Great insight. I agree with you.
Yeah, take some practice for sure.
Courtney, I have a question for you. It's about safety.
Okay.
You think that the fact that the students are not facing each other give them a sense of safety because they don't need to react to each other?
Yeah. I feel like that would definitely, being on Zoom would definitely have a pro there because I know some people, they can't even stand to be in the same room as each other, and that would limit, how much mediating can occur. So that is definitely one good thing about Zoom.
Right, because those are the two main factors when people compare face-to-face mediation and online mediation. You know, the fact that there is a limited, let's say, physical presence because you're not in the same room. On the other hand, the fact that you are in the safety of your home gives a sense of safety that you don't have when you're face-to-face. All right. Okay, Cindy, Karen, anybody, any final thoughts? I think we have run out of time.
No, just really feel free to reach out to us.
Yeah.
We are open. We are, we're pioneers. Okay, we're ahead of our curve.
Yeah.
And we've talked about that. So if you want to be ahead with us, please come join us.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. And we will send you the link to the video recording. We hope that this webinar has been useful, and we look forward to stay in touch with you then. Thank you, everybody. Bye now.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.